Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can use BPC-157 to literally supercharge your energy so you can work 12 hours a day. Now, I've been a health coach for 17 years now, and I've helped over 7,500 people reclaim their energy and vitality. And I've never heard anyone talk about this because, to be honest, I don't think anyone knows about this. But it can be used to completely solve your chronic fatigue that you've been dealing with for years. Now, in this video, I'm going to explain exactly how it works, the dosing protocol, and why you should use it. So stick around to the end of this video because by then you're going to know exactly how to get superhuman energy. And just quickly, everything in this video is educational, not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. BPC-157 is not FDA approved for human use. Always talk to a qualified healthcare professional before doing anything with this. Right, so let's get into it. Now, first, let me get into why this is important, because if you don't understand the science behind it, then none of this video is really going to make any sense. So what is BPC-157? Now, BPC-157 stands for Body Protection Compound 157. It's a small chain of amino acids, and it was isolated from protective protein that lives in your stomach's digestive juice. Your body makes it right in the gut, okay? And the reason it lives in your gut makes complete sense when you think about it. Your gut takes more abuse than almost any other part of your body. Food, acid, bacteria, stress. The gut will need constant protection and prepare. Now, BPC-157 is what your body uses to do that job. But you need to get something straight. It's a signal, not a drug. A drug forces your body to do something. It overrides what's happening and substitutes its own effect. Whereas BPC-157 is a signal that just tells your body to make more of something it already produces naturally. But what's happening right now is your body doesn't produce enough to counteract all the damage it takes daily. That damage comes in the form of stress, junk food, antibiotics, and so on. And each of these things damages your gut faster than your natural BPC supply can fix it. So now you understand what it does and why your body just simply can't keep up. So let's run through why it's actually causing chronic fatigue. Now, your gut lining is basically one cell thick. That's it. One layer of cells is all that stands between your bloodstream and everything inside your digestive tract. When that wall is healthy and tight, nutrients pass through as they should. Waste, that stays out. And your immune system doesn't have anything to react to. When you've been running on chronic stress, poor sleep, stimulants, maybe taking antibiotics, poor food, the kind of food most high performers eat because it's fast and available, that wall gets damaged and it develops gaps. And through those gaps, things that should stay inside the gut start seeping into your bloodstream. Undigested food particles, bacteria, toxins, chemicals. Your immune system sees this and reacts hard. It fires up inflammation throughout your body and brain. That inflammation, it costs your body so much energy to deal with that you end up having virtually no energy left over to go about your day as normal. Now, think of it as a constant battle in your body. And battles cost a lot of resources to support. And in this case, the resources being used is energy, and it's being drained to the point of unexplainable fatigue. So you could be eating a good diet, taking expensive supplements, thinking you're doing everything right, and getting a fraction of the benefit because the system meant to be used to absorb all of this is damaged. Probiotics, digestive enzymes, elimination diets, these aren't useless, but they work on the surface. They manage the symptoms or reduce the load on a gut that's already damaged. None of them rebuild the actual structure of the gut wall. So you can remove the things causing damage, you can add things that help with digestion, but if the wall itself isn't repaired, you're always going to be fighting this battle. And that is what BPC-157 actually does. It repairs the root cause of these issues, the gut lining. So now you know, and you can see how powerful this peptide can be, at relieving fatigue and reducing your body's need for energy. So I want to get into the actual protocol so you can use this and you can change your energy levels for good. Now, just a reminder, I'm not a doctor. This isn't medical advice. BPC-157 is not FDA approved for human use. Just want to cover that again. But everything here is based on published research. You want to run it by your doctor before you do anything at your own discretion. That's what you should be doing. And if you're going to go ahead, you're going to be using a small insulin needle, a 29 gauge, the same kind diabetics use every day. It's tiny. Most people barely feel it. You inject it subcutaneously, which means it goes into fat. And for gut healing, you want to inject into the abdominal wall, the area around your stomach. This puts the compound close to where it needs to go and gets into your system. It takes less than a minute once you know what you're doing. I want you to look up subcutaneous injection tutorials by medical professionals in order to get the sequence and technique down. That's not something I'm going to give you advice on here. So for the dosing, For gut healing specifically, this usually ranges between 100 to 500 micrograms per day. And if you want a specific starting point for a moderate dose, 250 micrograms daily is a solid place to begin. And you should up it to around 500, 500 micrograms, and use that dose for the majority of the protocol. Now, always use a peptide calculator online in order to find and confirm your dosing for your particular peptide power amount. The back water used and the syringe size. It is important to not rush this step as you want to be injecting the correct dose. However, as an example, here is what it would look like. You mix the BPC-157 powder with bacteriostatic water, and if you're using a 1 ml syringe and a 5 microgram vial, add 2 ml of back water. A dose of 500 micrograms should be at the 0.2 milliliter mark out of 1 ml. You should also watch best practice videos on the reconstitution of lyophilized powder, as there is a technique to it to ensure it is not damaged when you mix it. Swirl the vial gently until it dissolves, don't shake it, then you can refrigerate it. You should take this compound daily for a minimum of 8 weeks to maximize the chance of healing entirely. However, research suggests that you can take this peptide indefinitely, but my non-medical advice is to use it intentionally with a goal in mind during a set time frame. Where a lot of people go wrong though, is they do 2 weeks, they feel less bloated and stop. Then 6 weeks later, everything is back to where it was. The symptoms ease before the tissue is actually rebuilt. And your gut wall doesn't fully repair in 2 weeks. The inflammation calms down, which feels like you're fixed, but the underlying structure is still catching up. So to ensure to do it properly, run it for 8 weeks. That's a proper gut healing protocol. And just remember this, it's a repair signal, not a magic override. The things that damaged your gut in the first place, the chronic stress, the poor sleep, the stimulants, the antibiotics and medication, they're still doing damage while BPC tries to repair it. You need to address both for maximum results. But this next part is the most important part of the entire video. Now, BPC-157 is one of the most powerful gut healing tools in existence. And everything I've told you about what it does, that's real. But it does have a ceiling, and that ceiling isn't the compound, it's the environment it's working in. And so this is what I mean by this. Now imagine you bring the best repair crew money can buy to fix a building, to fix a damaged building, but the building is still flooding. Water's pouring in from the roof, the drainage is blocked, and that crew can do something, but the progress they make keeps getting undone. That's exactly what happens when you run BPC-157 into a body where the nervous system is fried from stress. The colon is backed up, recycling toxins back into the gut every day, and the liver is too overloaded to clear the inflammation BPC is trying to resolve. The peptide works, but the environment is fighting it at every step. Years of chronic stress, stimulants, and relentless output haven't just tired you out, they've done structural damage across multiple systems at the same time. And your nervous system has been locked in survival mode so long, it's forgotten what repair mode feels like. And a body in survival mode physically cannot prioritize healing. Your colon is almost certainly backed up, toxins sitting in the wall, seeping back into your bloodstream, recycling through the same system BPC is trying to fix. Your liver, the organ responsible for clearing cortisol, inflammation markers, and metabolic waste, is running at a fraction of what it should be. And when the liver is overloaded, the inflammation BPC-157 is working against just keeps coming back. So running BPC-157 into that system will get you part of the way, but part of the way is probably where you've been living for years. Some results feeling a bit better, but never actually crossing the line. So here's what actually changes the outcome. Your body heals in a sequence, This isn't a preference, this is how physiology works. The nervous system has to come first. And you might be asking why. The reason why is because the nervous system has two modes, One is for repair, the other is survival. This is where the body thinks it's being threatened. And chances are you're in survival mode and therefore not able to repair anything. The gut cannot heal itself in a body that thinks it's under threat. So once you put it back into repair mode, the gut can actually begin to heal. Then the colon, you have to clear the exit pathway before you begin to remove what's upstream, otherwise toxins just pile up and keep your energy wrecked. And then the liver can finally work at processing toxins, which it's been struggling with for years to do. With peptides running alongside every step to accelerate what the body is already doing. When BPC-157 runs inside that sequence in the gut phase of the protocol, rather than a standalone tool thrown into a broken system, the results are in a completely different league. So now that you know the full system, and what to actually do to heal the gut properly long term, here is what the future looks like when BPC-157 runs inside the right sequence of healing. You wake up feeling alive, alert and sharp, no alarm needed, no dread, just energy. The kind you had when you were 17 years old. You feel absolutely fucking amazing on a daily basis, from morning till night without stimulants. Not running on fumes anymore, not plagued with fatigue all day, not waking up exhausted despite sleeping. Coffee is completely optional. I mean, if it's up to me, I'll take that away. You won't need it. You have tons of energy to pursue your goals and work like a dog should you wish. That's what the sequence produces. Not BPC alone, the order, the sequence. You now know what you need to do in order to get your energy and vitality back. And I've got a video on this channel that goes into exactly what that sequence looks like. The nervous system reset, the gut protocol, the colon work, the liver cleanse, and how to run all of it in the right order with peptides accelerating every phase. Now, if today is the first time something has actually made sense to you, why you've been stuck, that video is the next step. Go watch it. It's linked right here. And if this helped, smash the like button and hit subscribe, because I'm going to be leaking much more free value over the next weeks. It's going to be crazy.